guys, welcome to another book versus film video, a channel where I review and rant and discuss about books and their film adaptations and any books that may be film related. And today I've decided to do a video showing you books that I have by an actor. I have many books by many different actors, but I'm gonna do them in like themed videos, so a video for each. Now the actor that I am showing you their work of today, is someone that I have not always loved, I'll be honest. I was so used to just seeing him in stoner comedies, and then I found out that he was an artist, and I was kind of like, what is this guy doing? Like, he's a stoner comedy actor, now he's trying to be an artist, and I've hated myself for thinking that way ever since I gave him a chance as an artist and a writer. And that glorious fellow is Mr. James Franco. I have four books to show you today that I own from him. Now these are not all his books. I wish I owned all his books, and some of the books I do own I wish I had in hardback because I need all the copies now. I'm just gonna kind of talk a little bit about what they are, like summarize them to see if maybe they're anything that will interest you. And a little fact for you, one of the books in this video is actually my favorite book of all time, so I'm gonna save that one for last. First is Directing Herbert White. This is a book of prose and poems, kind of almost completely based around Herbert White, which was a short film that James made from a guy's poem, Frank Bydart's poem, which was actually called Herbert White. The short film and the poem was about a murderer and a necrophiliac called Herbert White. The person on the cover who is like kind of blurred out is actually actor Michael Shannon, who played Herbert White in the short film. This book is really, really small, so easy to read. Obviously I did it in one sitting because I love poetry and James Franco, and it's tiny. This is a really, really cool poetry book. Some of the poems in here I had read from other places and other books that he'd already written, or that I think he wrote after. But one of the things that I really like about this book, and kind of is one of the reasons why I'm into James Franco, because there's a lot of similar interests. Some of these poems have the title of songs by the Smiths, and the Smiths are probably my favourite band in the whole entire world, so that was really cool for me. I believe there is a copy, or actually I think he's written a couple, there is a copy of a poem about River Phoenix in here as well. I believe it's River Phoenix almost talking to James, which was really, really cool for me, because River Phoenix has like been one of my idols since I was really, really young, and slowly James is becoming one of my literary idols, which past me would be like, what? Next is Palo Alto. Now this is still kind of in the theme of book versus film, because this was adapted into a film, and it's one of the reasons why I started reading James Franco. I did see the film first. The film starred James Franco, Emma Roberts, and Jack Kilmer, and was directed by Sofia Coppola, who's Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. I love books of short stories, so when I found out the book itself was just short stories, I was really, really interested to read that. It's definitely one of my favourite themes, which is about kids who are quite reckless and kind of smoke and whatnot. The film isn't based on all the short stories on here, it was just some of the short stories were taken out to kind of make this smoother narrative. These are all stories just about kind of teenage life. I believe most of them are based on actual experiences when James was a teenager. And there's things like kids at parties, girls who become sluts, and their kind of opinion of themselves. It's a very honest book in some of the darker sides of teenage life. And I love this cover, it's super shiny. Next was a book that I consider myself like super lucky with, because I brought it secondhand from Amazon for like £3, and I think normally it's like 15, and when it turned up, like before it turned up, I thought it was gonna be this little kind of just little really thin book, but it's not, it's huge. And that is Hollywood Dreaming, and it's stories, pictures, and poems. And it's just this wacky book that's got like drawings, collage drawings like everywhere. And obviously inside, like it says, are short stories and poems and loads of artwork by James. Most of the poems in the beginning are actually based on the film he did called Spring Breakers, and a lot of the poems are written in the voice of Alien, who was the character he played in Spring Breakers. I got Scarface on repeat! On repeat! This is just super easy to read. Most of it is actually just kind of looking at it, and artistically it's amazing. There's a really kind of subtle lunacy within the artwork, which I really like. Again, I had seen I'd read stuff that he'd written that was quite similar, to a point where it was maybe a little bit too similar. So there are some of the books that I read before this I actually preferred, but I would definitely recommend this for basically a collector or somebody who really likes mixed media, and a little bit of darkness and a little bit of comedy. And I literally could just look at this book and just hold it for like ever. And lastly is the #1 book on most of my lists, and in this Franco video, which was not actually in any particular order, but I said I was going to do my favorite book last, and that is Actors Anonymous. And I really want the hardback edition. This was, I think, the second James Franco book I ever read, and I feel like I was taking a bit of a leap because it was the biggest James Franco book that I was ever going to read, but it was short stories, and I really like James Franco's Palo Alto, so I thought I'd give it a try. It exceeded all my expectations. It's part fiction, part memoir, and you spend a lot of it trying to figure out what's true, or whether he's talking about himself rather than the actual character. And there's stories about sexual encounters, recovering drug addicts, drug use, and people's mentalities inside their head, quite kind of twisted or kind of broken down characters. And it was just an absolutely phenomenal read for me. I could read this again and again. Also, in book versus film tradition, I recently found out this was being turned into a film. So I'm really excited and also really freaking nervous to see how that's going to go, what stories they're going to use, whether they'll use some of my favorites or not. But yeah, I mean, I still love the paperback edition. It's easier for me to carry around, plus Franco's face is on the front, which isn't too bad. But I really eventually would like to get the hardback edition, and it's like this really cool skull made out of stars, and I want it. So the angle might be a little bit different, and the lighting might be a bit different, because basically the batteries in my camera have run out, and I don't have any more. So yeah, I was just basically gonna end the video and say those were my James Franco books. I would definitely recommend checking him out. It's very much a sense with some books and films, don't compare him to the actor. Think about it as just an author, just without sounding cliche and cheesy, just a person. Please recommend me any books or films you want me to talk about or check out for you, so you don't have to do the hard work and know which one to go into first. Like always, as I say at the end of these videos, I'm terrible at ending them, so thank you for dog running away. So thank you for watching, and I will see you for another video of book versus film while I see what's wrong with the dog. Nothing is wrong with the dog. I realize that sounds kind of worrying. He's deciding where